Hey everybody, this is Magical Mustache Man John and Kyle, and today we're talking about planning your Virgin Voyage cruise.
We love Virgin Voyages. We went on our first Virgin cruise in January of 2026 and absolutely fell in love with the cruise line. You know, up until that point, we've been avid Disney Cruise Line people, love Disney Cruise Line. That hasn't changed. But Virgin is an extra special product, and we wanted to talk a little bit today about how to plan for your Virgin cruise and get the most out of that experience. So first, before we talk about planning your Virgin Voyages cruise, let's talk about why you should go on a Virgin Voyages cruise. And we love Virgin for a lot of reasons. So Virgin is an adult-only cruise line. So 18 and up only, no kids. That's definitely a perk for many people, maybe a limitation if you have kids and want to travel with your kids, totally understandable. But if you're looking for an adults-only vacation, Virgin is perfect. What are some of the things you love about Virgin?
I want to say it feels like an all-inclusive ship without really being all-inclusive. So dining, everything's included. You're not paying extra for premium dining. You're getting everything included within your fare.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is compare like Royal Caribbean, where it feels like every little step maybe is a choice about whether you're paying or not. With Virgin, it does feel all-inclusive. So non-specialty drinks are included. So soda, you do have to pay for specialty coffee, you do have to pay for alcohol. Wi-Fi, basic Wi-Fi is included, though you can upgrade that to classic or premium Wi-Fi. And so I think there are some things, I mean, most cruises, right, all of your dining's gonna be included, but there's just some special perks that make, I think, Virgin feel all-inclusive. You brought up dining, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
So they don't have a classic dining room, and it's not like Disney where there's 3 dining rooms that you rotate through. They have 5+ signature dining restaurants that are included in your cruise fare, and you book a reservation just like you would go out to dinner, and the food is, to me, the food is the best part of Virgin.
It's probably the best food on a cruise line. It is so delicious.
It's maybe the best food of like a vacation, all-inclusive sort of vacation that I've ever experienced for sure.
And the best part is you can order as much as you want. You're not paying extra, so you're getting your money's worth. You get to try everything on the menu, and there's a selection, and there's always something for everybody.
Yeah, it's really great. I would say the vibe is also something that is really cool. Virgin is kind of, people describe it as like a Miami boutique hotel. It's very cool and lots of like shiny brass and mirrors and stuff like that, but it's just a really cool ship. And so I think it's a great aesthetic. It's also got this like nice balance between a focus on like fitness and wellness, and they have a really big, gym and fitness areas and fitness classes and a juice bar and those kinds of things. But then it also has this really fun like nightlife atmosphere. Like they have one of the best nightclubs I've been to on land or at sea. They have tons of really fun events. And so it's a very fun, active cruise line, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, so if you're either there for drinking or you're just there for fitness,
or a little bit of both,
that's perfect cruise for you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think, we love Virgin for lots of reasons. I definitely think you should think about Virgin Voyages. If you're thinking about it, let's talk about how you would plan a trip. So first is knowing where Virgin sails and what type of ships they have. So the ship part is really easy. They have 4 ships currently: Scarlet, Valiant, Resilient, and Brilliant. They're all pretty much the exact same ship layout. It's about 2,700 passengers at double capacity. And so you don't really have to choose between ships, right? Whereas like Disney, you may be choosing between different ship layouts or certain, amenities that are on certain ships. Definitely Royal, where they have like, almost 30 ships. You're maybe making a decision based on ship, but all of the Virgin ships are essentially the same, and they've all launched within the last 6 years. So they are all new, fresh. We went on Scarlet Lady in January, which even though it was only 5 years old, they had already refreshed it and put it into dry dock and redid some of the rooms, and you could tell when we were on the ship.
Yeah.
So that's really easy. Where does Virgin sail?
Oh, so they traveled through the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Mediterranean, now Alaska, and I think that's about it.
Yeah. So this is the first year that they're going to Alaska. So definitely a huge focus on the Caribbean and Bahamas, like most cruise lines. Things that I love about Virgin's itineraries in the Caribbean is they go to Key West. We love Key West, and it's not often that you get to stop at Key West on a cruise ship. So that is included in many itineraries. For their Mediterranean cruises, we've not been on the Mediterranean cruise, but we hear it's fantastic. Something that many cruise lines do, but I think Virgin does really well, is they do overnights at certain locations. So like Ibiza and Mykonos, like they port at on one day, and then they don't leave until 2 p.m. the next day. So if you want to be out partying all night or exploring a city, you can do that. And that's like a really special thing, which you don't always get to do on a cruise ship, where you have to be back on the ship by 6 p.m. every single port day. And then Alaska is new this year. It's pretty exciting. That also means that there are some California cruises that are happening, as well as Brilliant Lady makes its way across the Panama Canal. I think they just crossed the Panama Canal right now. And then they're going to be doing some California cruising, and then Alaska is going to start in May, in just another month, which is crazy. So itinerary is going to matter, obviously, for any cruise line. When do you want a vacation? How many days do you want to go for? And what places do you want to see? That's going to be the main thing that's going to help you decide which cruise is the right one for you. You don't really need to decide on ship. For the US, it mostly ports out of Miami, and again, it'll be a little bit of West Coast for the Alaska season, but that'll at least help you decide where you're going from and all of that.
All right, and let's get to the question now. How do you book your Virgin Voyage cruise? Easy. You contacted me. I'm a travel advisor for Fantastical Vacations, so if you need help booking your Virgin Voyage cruise, I could totally help you out with that.
Yeah, reach out to John. You're gonna have the whole conversation about planning. You know, you're like, we actually just got a client reach out and say like, hey, we're thinking about going to Greece in June. Like, can you help us find a cruise? And we recommended Virgin because it's an adult couple. We love Virgin. We know that they do the Mediterranean really well. And so that was our recommendation. And so John's able to kind of help them plan each of the dates. This is what's available, how many nights, all those things. Once you lock in on a cruise that you want to go on, John will place a hold on that cabin. And then that gives you time to kind of look at it, make sure the pricing's all right, all of that. There's a ton of deals right now. There's often like an 80% off second sailor deal. There's like an additional bar tab deal. We can talk about bar tabs in a second.
And Sailor Loot.
Yeah, and Sailor Loot, which is like, so bar tab is for drinks only. It's basically, instead of having a drink package, you can prepay for drinks. It's cheaper than paying on board, and it includes the tip. All the drinks are, that's the thing about the all-inclusive. It includes the tip when you're buying your drinks. So it's not like having to pay additional gratuities throughout the trip, which is really nice. So you basically can prepay, and usually like if you spend $200, you'll get an extra $25 of bar tab. If you spend $300, you'll get an extra $50 of bar tab. So you get some extra money to spend on the ship. So do a hold, get all your information, and then you're gonna decide on which cruise fare you're gonna go with, which is really gonna give you kind of different levels of access to certain things and also flexibility in booking your vacation. And so I'm going to read these because it's a big matrix. So your fare options for standard cabins, which would be an inside stateroom, an ocean view stateroom, or a balcony stateroom, is base, essential, and premium. So things that are different between these. So base obviously going to be your most affordable, essential is going to be your most common, and premium is going to be your nicest one outside for standard cabins. This isn't for Rockstar suites. So you're going to look at basic Wi-Fi included for the base, classic Wi-Fi, which is 2 times faster than basic for 1 device per sailor for essential, and premium Wi-Fi, which is 5 times faster than classic and 2 devices per sailor for the premium package. You are going to be able to book dining 60 days for premium before sailing, 45 days for essential, and 15 days for basic. I think really the main thing it gets down to is what's your flexibility in changing your sailing. So for basic, you can have no date changes, no name changes, no cabin changes, and cancellation is non-refundable in any way. So you're gonna go for a cheaper deal, but you're gonna have way less flexibility in that vacation. So if you're really sure that's where you're gonna go, it's fine to do that. For essential, you are going to allow date changes. 2 to 4 sailors can change their names, but the primary sailor in the cabin cannot change names. So if you're like, I think this person's gonna come with me, but I'm not sure, you have flexibility there. And then you are able to change cabins if there's another cabin available that you wanna move over to. If you have to cancel, it is eligible for a future voyage credit. And then for premium, you can change dates, change all sailor names, change cabins, and again, your cancellation deposit is eligible for future voyage credit. So that's really the main, I would say, difference between the three is going to be some of the perks in terms of Wi-Fi and booking windows, but really it's going to be flexibility on booking your vacation. And then Rockstar and Mega Rockstar, you're going to have 120 days out for booking dining. You're going to have 135 days out for booking shore excursions. And you're gonna have a little bit more flexibility again in changing dates and cabins, as well as all of the benefits of Rockstar, which we can talk about in a different video. We went Rockstar in January. It was awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but it definitely is a premium product, just like any suite product on a cruise.
And I do want to talk about like a little bit of the base when reserving dining 15 days before your cruise. I know it seems like a very short time to like book your dining stuff, but there's so much availability on there still. So if you're like getting the base one and you're worried that you're not gonna get like a good restaurant, there's plenty of availability. And even if you don't have the availability, you can always go on the ship and ask one of the cellmates to be like, hey, can I put in a reservation for these, or if there's anything available popped up, can I do it? So
yeah, don't stress too much about the dining. I mean, again, if like it's a long sail, if it's a long sailing, you're gonna have plenty of opportunities. If it's a short sailing and you're really wanting to go to a certain restaurant, that's fine. All the restaurants are excellent.
Yeah.
But John had a client who just hit their 15 days before their cruise the other day, and he was up at 5 a.m. booking dining and was able to get everything. Some of them were like a little bit later, more like 8 or 9 p.m. as opposed to like 6 or 7 p.m. for some of the more popular restaurants like the Wake, but was able to get everything. So don't stress too much about dining. But it is nice to know some of those things are locked in, or certain brunches are available if you get an earlier one. All right, so now you have decided on what cruise fare you want to do. You decided on what cruise you want to go on. Now John is going to place that deposit for you. So it's typically 20% of your cruise fare is going to be due for the deposit. Again, that deposit is refundable for 7 days after booking. And then after that 7 days, it becomes a future voyage credit if you end up canceling before final payment is due. Now it's a little different than say like Disney Cruise Line, where your deposit is fully refundable up until final payment is due. It is different on Virgin. So just know that it's going to be a future credit. So you're going on some Virgin cruise after that 7 days, or else you're going to lose that credit. Or if you do base, you also do not get a credit if you cancel. So you're going to place the deposit. That's also going to be, and then you're going to be booked until 120 days before your sailing is going to be when final payment is due, and that's for everybody. So 120 days, 4 months out is when final payment is going to be due. Once you get past the final payment window, then you're even more locked into no changes necessarily to dates without it being a future voyage credit or things like that. So definitely, 120 day mark is a good place to know. 120 days is also when you're gonna be able to start booking shore excursions and certain onboard activities like spa services and certain like dining events and things like that.
Yeah.
But mostly going to be excursions, and that's true for pretty much everybody on board except for Rockstars. There is the 135 days. So definitely, if you know there's certain excursions you want to do at certain ports of call, try getting those booked early as soon as you hit the 120 day mark. Also something John can help you with.
Also, it's 135 days after final payment. So if you haven't done final payment after Rockstar, you still won't be able to.
Yeah, so you have to do final payment and at 135 days. But minimum final payment has to be done to book shore excursions.
Yes.
And then it's the countdown to your cruise. John's gonna be keeping in touch with you to plan booking again at that 60, 45, or 15 day window if you're in a regular cabin, talking about what to pack, how to prepare, all those things. And then it's time to get on your Virgin cruise, which is fantastic.
Yes.
We ported out of Miami when we took our cruise in January on the Scarlet Lady. Their cruise terminal is beautiful, though I heard we were rock stars. Never done this before, so it feels kind of funny saying that. But it was super easy for us. Like, it was so easy. We like walked in, showed our passports, like sat in this lounge, had a glass of champagne, then we walked on the ship first. It was fantastic. Yeah. But if you're doing a standard cabin, I heard it can be a little bit of a little chaotic in the cruise terminal, but I think that's true for many cruise terminals. So you're just getting all these people onto a ship pretty quickly. Don't stress too much about it. You're gonna get your wristband, which has your room key, and that's how you pay for everything. I loved having
it.
That.
Was really nice. And afterwards, once you're done with your sailing, you could definitely keep your wristband, and you could take away the little chip that comes with it, and it comes with a really cute bracelet. So. Yeah.
I wear it around sometimes, but I'm like, I want to be back on the cruise right now. And then your sailing is going to start. One other thing to think about is whether you want to do prepaid gratuities. Generally, we recommend doing prepaid gratuities that can be placed on your bill beforehand. Whether you want to add a bar tab can be done at the time of booking, at the time of final payment, or as you approach your sailing, but no sooner than 24 hours or 72 hours,
48 hours.
Before your sailing takes out, that you can still buy a bar tab on land. After that, you're just gonna be paying per drink. Again, the bar tab, it doesn't necessarily save you money unless you're getting that extra like $50 or $100, depending on how much you spend. But it does just make, again, that all-inclusive feel a little bit easier, knowing that you've prepaid for certain drinks or a certain amount of drinks, and that includes coffee as well, to just make that process a little bit easier. Hopefully this was helpful to think about how you would plan a Virgin cruise, why you should go on a Virgin cruise. We are huge fans of Virgin Voyages. We have a future credit because we canceled our Alaska sailing on Virgin and switched to Princess, so we're gonna use that credit to go on a Virgin voyage probably in the Caribbean, maybe this summer, or maybe Mediterranean in the future. I'm not sure. We have, I think, 24 months to use it, so we got time. Love Virgin Voyages. If you have questions, please drop a comment, let us know. John is here to help you plan a fantastic vacation, cruise line, all-inclusives, Disney, Universal. But yeah, this has been super helpful for us to review it and hopefully helpful for you.